So you've got these 2 months now that I think are really, really important, because it was the same thing that Chelsea fans and Chelsea people were saying about Frank Lampard. They were like, he will never get sacked. The team needs to get top four because they're not really in where they want to be. They're buying these players. They've had a big transfer window. Havertz comes in, Werner comes in. It's kind of all looks really rosy. And then Lampard got 2 or 3 or 4 months with those players going through a pre-season into Christmas. And at Christmas, from being top, I think at the start of the season, they were top for about 3 or 4 or 5 weeks at the very start of the season. Got to January and he was gone. And he was a Chelsea legend, the greatest Chelsea player of all time, arguably, him and, you know, a certain JT. So you look at that. So that's a Chelsea question, not for me to answer. But that's how it is. And they didn't wait. The Glazers are as ruthless as any owner. They will look at it if they feel that their manager is holding them back, and vitally that there are other managers available on the market that they can go and get.
This is why I want to say, Rob.
This is what we're going to talk about next. Yes.
Yeah. This is what I want to say, because you've mentioned that, you know, at the time, obviously, Thomas Tuchel, who's a fantastic tactician, you know, he's obviously come in and he's harnessed that quality. And we're looking at Zinedine Zidane here because he's one of those names that has been mentioned in the press. And look, Rob, I mean, it's actually quite staggering. We all know what Zidane has won. You're looking here, you know, 3 Champions Leagues, 2 La Ligas, 2 Super Cups, 2 Club World Cups, 2 Spanish Super Cups as well. Conceded only 23 goals in that 2019-20 season. I mean, look at this stat here, though, Rob. Zidane's won a trophy every 19 games for Real Madrid. And you're looking over here, obviously, he's got a 66.2% win percentage at Real Madrid. You know, when you're having a look at all these pieces, and look, we're not sitting here and saying that the biggest thing for me, Rob, is that at the end of the day, I want to see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer be successful in Manchester United. I want him to win trophies, obviously, because I want to see Man United do well. I don't have an agenda here. I'm not sitting here, Ole in, Ole out. I don't care. I just want United to do well. But at the end of the day, you know, if he isn't performing and there is someone who can get more out of the squad, then I'm also game for that, Rob, because I want to see Manchester United be successful. When I'm looking at it, and we've also got Conte up here, because Conte has been mentioned as well. If you're comparing the 2 managers, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done a fantastic job to build this squad, to stop the rot, and there's some really, really good players here. The transition to someone like Zidane, for the way that Zidane wants to play, and obviously he knows Ronaldo, he knows Varane, is a logical step forward rather than to go to someone like Conte. We'll have a look at Conte in a minute. But when you're looking at Zidane and what he could offer to the club, is he an attractive option? Say if Ole does get sacked, maybe at the end of the season, let's just say this does happen. Is he an option for Manchester United? And would he get more out of this squad looking at, A, the squad that he had at Real Madrid and sort of the style of players, and B, with his track record?
You just said end of the season. If this is not going to end at the end of the season, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets sacked if things are going wrong in the season. So if he gets to the end of the season, it means that he's achieved. He's either got first or second. He maybe have won a trophy. It might not be as pretty as we wanted it to be, but he survived. So then you don't change the manager. I think this is about, as I said, the November question. You get to November and you say, is this the right manager to take it forward? Zinedine Zidane is a strange character in the sense that he's at Real Madrid. He's got a team of Galacticos, and it's his job to piece together Florentino Perez's philosophy. That's kind of what it is. And Zidane over years has had lots of detractors, people kind of saying that maybe he's a bit more of a negative coach than people thought he would be. But you cannot take away his win record. You can't take that away at the hardest club in the world to win, like Real Madrid. You know, if you lose 2 games at Real Madrid, it's worse than Man United. You know, it's just the end of the world, and people are waving white hankies. I've been in that stadium in the Santiago Bernabeu where people are waving white handkerchiefs, and it's amazing. And they show that they want a manager sacked. You know, they show it from. We don't do that at Old Trafford. You know, yesterday Bruno missed a penalty, and we cheered him off the pitch. So it's a different kind of world. I look at Zidane and I look at kind of what the pieces that Man United have at the moment, and I say to myself, does Zidane fit what Man United want to do? Well, if you decide that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is no longer your man, no longer the manager, no longer the guy to lead your project, what you were admitting is that this kind of 2 to 3 to 4 year cycle of trying to rebuild Manchester United in a Manchester United vein, in a Fergie vein, you know, with United people from the ground up, playing attractive football, playing attacking football, that has failed. You have to admit that. And normally football clubs do change every 2 to 3 to 4 years. That's how it generally works, because success breeds longevity, but decline breeds the sacking. There's no doubt about it. When you look at Zidane and you look at how he plays football, he would not be playing football in the Manchester United way. He would be coming to United to win at all cost. So that's why you bring him in. You look at the players you've got and you say, Cristiano Ronaldo, Zidane knows him. Rafael Varane, Zidane knows him. Paul Pogba loves Zidane and was begged to play under Zidane for years. So they're your three superstars, aren't they? Your three of your top players at least. That is where I think Zidane becomes attractive to Manchester United. On the flip side, Zinedine Zidane and his agent have both admitted that England doesn't really suit him. Doesn't suit him. The Premier League doesn't suit his style.
The France job is what he wants, really.
Well, we don't know that. That's speculation. So we can't put that on the table, Haider. We don't know if he wants the France job. We don't know. We really don't. But what he would like is a really big contract. So I think that's what he would really like. And there's one team in the world that would offer him that, and that's us. So United would offer him a contract that he wouldn't even got at Real Madrid. You know, he'll get a deal that's huge. So he might be tempted to come to the Premier League. All I'm going off is actual facts of what he said and his agent in the past, that England doesn't really fit him. But that can change. But then the other guy on the table, of course, is a serial winner who's just won
before we do that,
Serie A.
Can I just bring up 2 points about Zidane? You know, sort of where I think United will struggle with him just because of the personnel, and where United will excel. So when you looked at Zidane when he played, you know, obviously when he was those 3 Champions Leagues, 2 very key players were his 2 fullbacks. We had Marcelo and we had Carvajal. Between them, they had, I think it was about 20 goal contributions. When you look at Manchester United's current fullbacks, and you're looking at Wan-Bissaka, he wouldn't fit as Zidane's system. Luke Shaw probably would. And then the other thing as well, and by the way, I would be very happy with someone like Zidane. I think he'd be a really good fit. But you're also looking at the midfield. I mean, he had Casemiro, he had Kroos, and he had Modric. Casemiro was so keen for him. If you're looking at Man United's midfield right now, there are 2 key areas for Zidane where he obviously built the foundations for his team. And then when you're looking at obviously the flanks, you have a look at the wide man Manchester United have. That's where Zidane would definitely thrive. And then you've got Ronaldo as well. But when I'm looking at those 2 points as well, I think that United would have to upgrade in certain areas if they were going to bring someone in like Zidane.
Well, they would. Of course they would. It's like it's kind of crazy to say that if Zidane came in, that United wouldn't change anything. Of course they would change it. He'd come in and he'd say, "I want £200-300 million transfer kitty, and I want to buy players." So I think that's a given. I don't think that's kind of a point that we can delve into again, because it's kind of a moot point that it's not real. You know what I mean? That he will go and buy players if he came to the football club, as any manager would. So I think that's problematic. Is the same way that when Tuchel went to Chelsea last season, Tuchel didn't go there with a finished article, did he? But he still won the Champions League. So it is what it is. You know, if you're a serial winner, your job is to get the most out of those players and then build accordingly. So yeah, you might see that he goes and he looks at Wan-Bissaka and he might go, "I don't fancy Wan-Bissaka, but you know, he's my fullback for 6 months, so I'm going to get him to do 1 or 2 or 3 different things that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't do." And lo and behold, people are then saying Wan-Bissaka is a better player. Luke Shaw is probably the best left back in the world on form. So I don't think that Zidane would look at United's squad and think, I can't do anything with it. We've already said at the top of the show and in previous shows, this is a title-winning squad. So if you go and give it to the right manager, then there's always that way of saying, you know, is there a way of being better under someone else's guise?
Yeah, well said. There's obviously saying don't forget Ten Hag. We're not going to talk about Ten Hag today. He's someone that I really, really do like, and maybe we'll do a masterclass on Ten Hag, Rob, at some other time. We'll break down maybe a quick 30-minute video on what, you know, sort of what he's done at Ajax, what style of play, and, you know, sort of the whole Ajax philosophy. So we can do that for you. But look, Rob, over here we've got Antonio Conte. Now, I actually, and I've tweeted many times over the last week saying I wouldn't take him. But that's not because I don't rate him. I absolutely love Antonio Conte. I think he's one of the best managers in the world. I loved his passion when he came to the Premier League with Chelsea. Obviously, he won the title with Chelsea. I just don't think he's the right fit for the current squad, Rob. You know, you build the squad in one certain way, and then you're going to go and go with a manager in a complete different direction in terms of style of play. But there's no doubt about it. And this is Conte's season, I believe, last or time at Inter Milan. And look at that win rate. You know, you've got 51 wins in 76 games. And on the right-hand side here of the graphic, you've got his head-to-head with Zidane in terms of average points per match. So you've got Conte pipping Zidane in that respect. And I just think that when you're having a look at Antonio Conte and what he offers to Manchester United, I just think it's a bit of a step back because it's a short-term option. He might deliver a title, but I just think that, you know, maybe the mess he leaves behind after, it would just undo everything that we've done the last 3 years. You know, there needs to be continuity. That's how the club needs to think, and they haven't done that very well since Sir Alex, really.
Just breaking down kind of what you said there and the way you phrased it. There's a little bit of the Mourinho question here going back again with Conte. So it's a stylistic question first and foremost, and a question about winning secondly. So when we had Mourinho being touted for the job around the time of when he was at Real Madrid and he was leaving Real Madrid and came back and he went to Chelsea, and around that period, the question was, could he play a Manchester United style of football and win? And I think most of us decided no. When you had 2 years of Van Gaal and Van Gaal kind of doing Van Gaal things, the question became, now Mourinho was available, that could he come to the football club and win? Well, Jose Mourinho proved very, very quickly within 12 months that, yes, he could. He went and won trophies. The football was pretty good. You know, I don't think the football was bad. It was entertaining. United were winning. They brought in Ibrahimovic. They brought in Pogba. They brought in Mkhitaryan. They brought in Bailly. It all kind of worked for a short period of time. But it was a limited shelf life. Let's put it like that. Yeah, it was kind of a 2-year shelf life. In year 3, it had gone off. I think when you look at Conte, you just said there that you know, short-termism and all of that. I think the clubs that he's left, when he left Chelsea, I would blame Chelsea. I wouldn't blame him. And I think when he left Inter Milan, I would blame Inter Milan. I wouldn't blame him. I think he kind of looked at those clubs and thought, you do not match my ambition, so I'm off. So I don't think it was his fault. So I think that's where he differs with Mourinho. I think Mourinho is a kind of toxic character, and we saw that, and we hoped that when he came to Manchester United that he would change and that he would be a kind of person that maybe would grow into the role as a statesman. You know, we'd see the best of Mourinho, but the worst bits would kind of ebb away. And what we saw was something different. I think with Conte, he came to Chelsea, and the first 6 games, they were awful. And he set up 2 or 3 different ways, played 2 or 3 different systems. They were really bad, to the point where people were going, who is this guy? You know, he's a joker. He's not going to do anything here. And then he kind of went on a run of, I think, about 18 wins in a row or something like that. And it was quite defensive at times, but they played a style of football that meant that they won. And the goals that they scored were nice. They played some nice football. And I'm telling you this now, the Glazers felt that they could bring in Conte tomorrow and win the title this year, and it was only a short-term decision, they would do it. And I think most clubs would. See, clubs want to win and find ways to win in a sympathetic manner to their philosophy, but ultimately winning is all that matters. That is all that matters. Like, people, you know, we can kid ourselves that clubs want to build in the right fashion and all of this, but when Liverpool brought Klopp in, they weren't thinking, oh yeah, we're bringing you in because you're going to be the next Shankly. And, you know, City weren't bringing in Pep Guardiola because they're trying to build something beautiful. They're trying to win. Everyone wants to win. And I think when you look at Conte and you look at Zidane, they are both winners. So their appointments would make sense just in the kind of proviso of wanting to win. What it would mean, Haider, is that this whole Manchester United philosophy angle, that was what the Glazers are playing on and have done for the last 2 or 3 years, they would be admitting that that's gone. But do you know what? Edward Wood is leaving the football club. And it would kind of stylistically make sense for them to say, right, yeah, that ends there now. That man has gone on. We're moving that guy out. We don't know what Ole's doing. We're moving him out. And oh, look, one of the greatest footballers of all time and a 3-time winner of the Champions League who's available, who knows Cristiano Ronaldo and knows Varane and knows Paul Pogba, is available. Let's hire him. That does not go beyond the kind of realms of reality. I think that could very well happen if Ole doesn't get it right in the next 2 months.
I want to ask a quick question before we wrap up, Rob, about Antonio Conte, because you've seen that, you know, he has walked out of Inter because he didn't feel like they matched his ambitions. The question is, do Manchester United match his ambitions as a club? You can't say over the past, let's say, decade under the Glazers that they've had the same ambition as, say, like a Man City or Abramovich at Chelsea. Do Manchester United as a club match those ambitions of Antonio Conte?
Manchester United has spent over £1 billion on footballers in that time. It's not about ambition, Haider. It's about recruitment. Their recruitment has been absolutely awful, terrible. So that's why United have failed. So we can sit here and talk about the Glazers negatively because none of us like the Glazers. We all know that they've taken tons of money out of the football club, and we all know they've put the club in debt, and it's disgusting, and it's something we will never, ever adhere to. But the fact that Manchester United probably spent more money than any other club except Manchester City shows that there is a level of ambition there. Now, when Antonio Conte, if he was offered the job, that's what he's looking at. He's going, do Man United buy players? Well, the answer to that is yes. Man United have spent 410 million on players for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So this is not Ole doing it on his own back and kind of like homework on his own, bringing in youth and just taking really bad players and making them good. They've spent a lot of money. But when you spend a lot of money, what do you expect, Haider? You expect trophies, or at least title contention. And I think it's been fair to say in the last 2 years that Ole's been trying to sort out Mourinho's problems. Now those have gone. Mourinho's problems are no longer part of Manchester United. Now what we're talking about is tactics. And it could be a case that the board look at the current manager and say, we don't like the tactics. It doesn't work. You're not winning games in the way that we want you to win games. So what's the issue? I think Ole will be given time to fail, because I think that's the other side of it. I think he'll be given 2, 3, 4 months to go down the line. But I'll tell you this now, United will be talking to these people. United will be talking to Zidane. They'll be talking to Conte and saying, what's your availability like? Would you like to have a conversation with us? Let's go do coffee. Because that's how the football industry works. There's lots of kind of whispers and moans there in the background.
That's what they did with Jose, Rob, when LVG was here.
We knew that Jose Mourinho was coming to Manchester United months before Van Gaal got sacked. And during that whole period, people were saying to us in the press, you're wrong. It's impossible. United wouldn't do that. Why would they talk? You know, why would they go over Van Gaal? The issue was that Van Gaal's contract was up. So we knew that they didn't really want to give him another contract. It was over 2 years with a year option. So United were like, well, it's time to kind of move on. And it was the right decision, I think. I totally agreed with that decision at the time. But now we're at a crossroads with Ole, and there are people who could take his job, who are more experienced, who've got better records of winning and know these players. So you said there, I don't think United would suit Conte. I think it's more the other way around. Does Conte suit United? Well, United want a winner, and they're going to look at the list of winners who are available. And Conte went to Chelsea and stuck it up everyone. Everyone said, you won't do anything at Chelsea. You know, Juventus are not the kind of team you've won a title in Italy. It's not the same as winning the Premier League. Well, he won the Premier League. He won the FA Cup the following season. And yes, then he left. But I think that was probably to do with Chelsea's dysfunction, in the same way that he would still be at Inter Milan if it wasn't for their ownership. Their ownership has been bad. I think that United have got a really good squad this year. I don't think Conte looks at it and says, can I get Cristiano Ronaldo to score goals? I think he probably could. I think he'd feel good about that. And I think when you look at the other pieces, the Pogbas, the Bruno Fernandezes, Luke Shaw's, even Harry Maguire, when Harry Maguire's on form, there are players in that team that you can have a core of to be successful. And this is maybe not what we're seeing from Ole at the moment. I want to see more. I want to see that core dominate games. I want to see players come in and out of the team that show that they're worthy of being Man United players. But I need to see tactics that help those players. And that could be where Ole trips up at the end of the day. And he's got to prove it. He's just got, like, this is what this show is about. Not Ole in, not Ole out. It's hashtag Ole sort it out. Because he needs to show now in the next 2 or 3 months that he can do this. Because if he does not show it, unfortunately, we'll be hugging him, waving goodbye, and parting company. Because that is the football business. Football is ruthless. Yeah, if you lose, you are gone. Frank Lampard left Chelsea and they loved him there, certainly as much as we love Ole. So I don't think there's anything there that can keep Ole in the job if he starts losing matches and performances are this bad. And they are bad. You know, these performances are, as I said, 3 or 4 out of 10, maybe 5s now and then. There's nothing that makes me think, yeah, this is going to get better in the next match.